kind of do the equivalent of ROM hacking when it comes to Rayman Designer. We edit, as in, I have a forum, by the way. Crap. I don't think I can get back. Well, then again, I can't get back on the Rayman Designer version, which kinda scrolls the screen a bit, but I think that's just bad program-ish or something. So I assumed I could get back. Anyway, I have a forum, Rayman Designer forum, that's not what it's called Tilla's Gardens. And we do the equivalent of ROM hacking when it comes to Rayman Designer. If you don't know what ROM hacking is, doesn't matter, I'll tell you what we do in Rayman Designer instead. We take, well, for it to really matter to anyone who is unfamiliar with Rayman Designer, what I'm about to tell you, I would have to explain what Rayman Designer does and what it allows you to do and how to use it, basically, before telling you what we do to edit it, and how that affects. So I will. In Rayman Designer, it has two features, Mapper and Event Editor. Mapper is something you do outside of the game, which right there tells you that the Event Editor you do inside of the game. You edit the events. The events are these cages, but you can't use cages. They aren't in the Event Editor. These enemies, all the enemies you see, all the clouds you see, basically the equivalent of sprites. I know I used the word sprites in an earlier part to talk about the image of one of these things, but they can mean more than one thing. Sprite, as in, you'd call it a sprite in ROM hacking. Super Mario World. These enemies would be sprites. And these platforms would be blocks. One is static, one is not. I just died. I don't know why I said that out loud. So that's the difference. So for the moment, we will refer to these as blocks and those as sprites. The map editor edits the blocks. You cannot actually change anything about the blocks in any way, shape, or form, but you can put them on a 16x16 scale. You can put these blocks, and you can edit. Actually, there's two layers. You edit the blocks, what you see on the screen, and the blocks, what they do. They can do anything from nothing at all, which means you just pass through them. Solid ground that you can jump through. Slippery ground that you jump through. There's no such thing as slippery ground that you don't jump through. Slopes. Instant death by falling. Instant death by spike. Damage by spike. Drowning by lava. Yeah, I know. It's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna try to do a technique which is slipping off the edge but changing direction. It worked. It's one I only ever learned to do after all of my endeavors with Rayman Designer, because you need to know that kind of thing if you're gonna make impossible levels. Where was I? Blocks, obviously. Yeah. So you basically create the level, the backdrop of this level. That's an arrow. I should fall here. I believe there is a cage and a checkpoint. Ooh, the first level we have completed all of the cages, so we will not actually be coming back to this one. So any of those extra lives I missed, if any, I don't remember, we will never get ever. Yay! And the event editor, you put all the things, you put all the enemies, you put all these clouds, you put all the things that make the clouds appear. You don't put this guy because he's not there. And you make the rest of the level. In Rayman Designer, it's slightly different from Rayman in that you do not activate. Well, here, it's a good example of what's happening. This is where the ending is, right here, but it does not activate until I go on this cloud. In Rayman Designer, by default, the only way to activate the goal is to collect all the blue tings which you place. So any blue ting you place must be collected when you actually play the level. Or you will not be able to win. Sort of. There's some, again, us basically ROM hacking the same as in Smua as Rayman to make it so you can actually put a type of block that instant wins if you touch it. I don't know what that's about, but... So now that basically explains all of those. Now I can finally tell you what we actually do. There are two files that are important. There's one that's called a .map file, which there's one per world. Jun for jungle, they're all abbreviations. Imma for image. Mon for mountain. Kav for cave. Etc. if I missed the name. By the way, I have no idea what I'm doing in the game right now. I think I might have went the wrong way, but not important. For some reason, the game is not important right now. Just me telling you about this is the important part. And in those .map files are the template. Explanation. You use a template to create the blocks in the mapper. I don't know if I'm going backwards or forwards right now, but you use a template to create the blocks, yes. There are templates that you use, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's a second template, which is like a template, basically, which would be the same as if you're in Super Mario World editing. Really, if if you've done any of that, this probably makes a lot more sense. Where you go to the direct access blocks and it just shows every block once. Yeah, it's basically like that, where it's minimal, there aren't any structures, you know, to copy and paste. It's just each block and each what they do, little icon for mapper. And then all the templates, they look at that and they give you that. They give you structures in their templates for you to copy and paste into your level, because if you had to do it all by hand or make your own template, that would be annoying. Of course, we have... This is Mr. Sax. He is a saxophone. Back to what I was saying. It is the template, so we edit the .map files to change the template, but hilariously, we have to keep to the palette. If you don't know what a palette is, just Wikipedia it. I'm not telling you. This tangent is long enough, okay? You change the palette, everything will be screwed up. Unless you change it in a way that just makes it look cooler, which, I don't know, I've never actually edited a .map. That's... my friends do those. I get the ability to hover here. Oh, I just did. I already have okay. So, I know about editing the .map. Me and a friend and I basically discovered all this stuff by ourselves. He's only a friend through the internet, and I don't really keep contact with him. I haven't spoke with him in a while. The last time I saw him was months ago on the forum, and before that, like years ago on the forum. So, I have a forum. I think I mentioned. Remember, what were you just talking about? Palettes. You were talking about the .map. Okay, back to the story. So we can edit pixel by pixel. Need to keep in a 16 by 16 grid, or just, you know how grids work, hopefully. You have to keep in that, or it won't. Yeah, it just won't. And you need to keep the palette, 256 colors. Is what this DOS game uses. Which ones? Changes by world. So, I'm trying to bounce up. I think that's how you get up there. No, I'm wrong. And so with that, you can make all the platforms you want of any variety, I guess, within reason. Which, what we have done is take map blocks the images for them from Rayman 1 and other games based on this Rayman 1 engine, like Amazing Learning Games with Rayman, or Rayman Learning Center as it's called over here in the US. I don't actually know if it's called different by different places, or if there's just two that are identical or aren't identical. I don't know. There are. I'm pretty sure Amazing Learning Games with Rayman and Rayman Learning Center are the same game. That being said, there are also like Lorna Language with Rayman games. I have never had any of those, and I don't know if they have any special blocks. Back to the point. There are some blocks in these games that are not in Rayman Designer. There's only so many blocks in Rayman Designer. There's only so much space in the .map file. It's like not very much space. Might be like 16 by 16 or something, but it's not all filled. So there's extra space, and for that we fill in whatever's not here. Whatever we want. Some people make their own stuff whenever they need it. Okay. .map explained. That's half the story. The short half of the story, actually, the shorter half. The longer half is now a file that does not change its name by what world you're in. It's eve.mlt. EVE stands for event, probably. And MLT, I don't know, beats me. The people who made this are like Dutch or something. Or French. I don't know. That's weird. There are footnotes in the ev.mlt file that might be Dutch, or they might be French. I'm a dumb American. What? Don't look at me. Anyway, you edit this in Notepad or anything, and you basically just get a bunch of text. It's all the events, all the enemies, all the clouds, all the everything. Basically in a coding language that I don't know if they invented it or it's standard for DOS or something. If it's standard for DOS, I could probably learn it pretty easily and make this a lot easier. There's basically each event just looks like a bunch of numbers next to each other. Like 0, then a tab, then a 1, then line space 0, 1. Line space 6, 25. At the bottom it'll be like 25, 264 or something. And the different spots represent different things that we have discovered through trial and error. This part is impossible to talk about through speech. It's much easier to explain because I can like, this is exactly the part that does this. But no, I can't. I didn't memorize the line or the numbers or anything. I haven't even messed with one of those in ages. So you'll have to go on the forum if you want exactities, but what we can do is basically change anything about anything we want. Anything within reason. So say those flashing eye enemies there, we can make them only have 1 health or have 100 health. Look at clouds, we can make them go any direction we want. We can make them go in multiple directions even, which is standard in Rayman Designer, but the only clouds that change direction go in every direction, either clockwise or counterclockwise, or maybe both, I don't know, depending on which cloud you get. And those just aren't specific enough for all needs, so we can make our own clouds. Maybe we want a cloud that has 100 different directions it goes in. Maybe the entire level is just on that one cloud, you know? I know. Well, I haven't really used that to its fullest potential. So yeah, maybe it's all on one cloud. You just want a level on one cloud, so you script it out in the thing, then you make the level, put the little yellow block in mapper, event block thing. Basically, it's one of those what this block does thing. Acts as a trigger for events that have triggers in it, like anti-tunes have triggers to know when to move or something like that. Basically those, you remember those flying ones that walked on a platform then flew under it? That was using triggers to tell it when to go down, when to move left, when to go back up, and when to move right. And so that is the trigger block explained. Just put tons of those in the mapper for the cloud to follow. And then you could have an entire level like that. What else we have done? There are a fabled and infamous type of enemy called, I don't know what they're called, but red enemy. Confusing, because I've talked about a falling red plum spike berry thing, spiky rose, I don't know what it is. And I called it literally red. I probably shouldn't have done that. What I'm trying to do right now is go up here just so I can have momentum. But that's not interesting or important right now, so I will continue. Fabled enemies red in the Amazing Learning Games with Rayman, or what I have with Rayman Learning Center. They are instant killing anti-tunes or prickly spike balls. But instead of being blue, they are red. And so that's how you know they're instant killing. Might seem unfair to you that they have instant killing enemies. Not in Rayman 1, but in those. Which it is, but it's not used in an unfair way. It's used whenever you screw up a question, like what is 5 plus 5? Well, it's 9. Then you go to the thing that says 9 and you die. That game was a lot more fun when I'm not in algebra. There should be amazing algebra with Rayman, but we can make it because we discovered the part of the ev.mlt objects code. Basically, the part of the object that denotes what it looks like and the function it has. We found the one that makes them look like red anti-tunes or red prickly balls, and we found the one that makes an instant killing red anti-tunes or red prickly balls. Yeah, basically. No, we didn't. There's not a function that's different. Okay, this is where it gets kind of strange. The function is exactly the same, but the health is different. There is a part that we figured out always means health. Well, always. It doesn't always mean health. Dying in pointless ways. It obviously doesn't always mean health, because... Was there no midpoint anywhere? Or wait, that was a midpoint? I don't know. Whatever, I could do this over again. However much I just need to do over again. I don't even remember where I am. I'm like not focusing on the game at all. I'll focus when I finish this story, okay? So, the part that for enemies with health that denote health is health. But the exact same part for things like anti-tunes and prickly balls, if you give them 1 health, they have 0. If you give them 1 health, instead of, you know, hurting you 1, they instantly kill you. I don't even remember if I already been up here. No? So, I don't know if me dying there is good or not, because did I miss that the first time? Did I die immediately? I don't know. I can't remember when I died. Ah, right, this. I remember now. Story, red enter, red. Right, red. So, changing the health to 1 or basically anything else, if my memory is correct, which it might not be. Changes them to instant killing, which we discovered through trial and error. Like, I'm gonna be so... I think I discovered this, actually, I'm not sure. No, I did. I'm pretty sure I was like, oh, I'm gonna be super clever. I'm gonna give anti-tunes, like, I'm gonna freak my friend out. I'm gonna give him a level where anti-tunes have multiple health. So I do it, I was like, but he still died in 1 hit. No, wait. It's like, now he's invincible or something. I died in a stupid way. Now he's yeah, the ones that kill you instantly are also invincible. I didn't mention that. He's invincible now. What gives? Touch. Oh, I died. Holy crap. This means that this stuff that we wanted forever has finally in our grasp. We thought it was impossible. It's not. Etc. I'm pretty sure I want to be up here. I don't think I went up here. I was too busy. Maybe I'm wrong. Most likely. So we discovered that, and that concludes the interesting things we found. No, it doesn't. we also found screen moving, which is one thing you couldn't... Ah! Oh, I thought I had just killed myself again, but no. We also found screen moving events, so we can now make the screen start scrolling and instantly kill you when you get touched by the edge. Most games with screens that move just push you. In this one, it kills you. Yes. Yes, it does. So we found that, which is exciting. Or it was when we found it. Right now, it's just part of a list of information that I'm telling you. Pretty sure I need to have, like, either run or a lot of fast punches. Like, one fast punch to make it there. Or maybe just good timing and goodness. This concludes my story about how we edit the thing, and it's awesome. Well, that was pointless. Maybe I'm supposed to go back there at some point? I don't know. Or did I already do it? I'm going for the moment to say that blah, 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 and I don't remember anything else. So don't ask me questions. Did I die here? Did I get all the way here and die? You see, I have to ask this because I don't remember. This symbol does not hurt you if you're in the middle. That's the secret. If you didn't know, that's the secret. Sax. No? Darn. I thought I was going to see Mr. Sax. I wish I could see Mr. Sax again. Oh, hi, Mr. Sax. I am going to refrain from actually damaging you here, because that damage stays to your actual boss. This is before the actual boss actually starts. I think I have to hurt him once. I hate that, because I want to, like, make the boss last as long as possible, because it's just a fun boss. So I could damage it tons right now. I really could. But I'm going to try and avoid that, because as far as I remember, the damage stays when you die during the boss. I know, giving myself a fair advantage, what kind of madness would that be? Like, I could punch these before he gets to them, and they'd go back and always hit him. Not always, I think you can miss hilariously. It's hilarious that they miss, and that they miss in a hilarious way, by the way, grammar. But I just really love the bosses, and this part of the boss is not the fun part. I mean, it is awesome just walking casually away from this huge saxophone with eyes and a nose. And what appears to be not ears, I think. But I'd rather spend my time damaging him on the actual boss part. Also, I love the music in this game, it has to be said. It's gonna throw one of those giant bombs up that hits the ground and I have to jump to avoid the explosion. I'm telling you this because I want to tell you something about them, but you already saw one of the functions it does, and that function would be the first thing that my mind would go to, you know? But since you're seeing what's the function it is... Ouch. Okay, that wasn't hilarious at all, that was just pathetic. Since you're seeing what the function it is doing, me telling you would be redundant. Now this is triviality. I have decided not to tell you what's going on the screen if it's obvious, and it usually is. But I do not have anything against explaining random things that don't make point, that are pointless to explain. I explain them anyway. But they're not redundant, except that I explained them earlier. But I'm restating it to tell you that this is also a situation that I am doing this in. Also, if you can't tell right now, my mind thinks in a weird way. And sometimes my sentences, while they make sense, are put together in a way that comes off not non sequitur, just the way that they do. Usually I try to talk normal, but right now I really don't care to talk normal at all. Actually, at this very moment, I'm really just hoping this was recorded. And that the audio syncs. Because if not, I'm gonna be sad. But I can't be sad right now because I'm playing Rayman for the first time, and who knows when I don't. And I just missed one of those notes. Apparently this game is harder than Nitroid. Nah, someone else who's actually played both of them 100% said, Rayman is not harder than Nitroid. I'm like, thanks, guy! Thanks for sticking up for this game. If you don't know what Nitroid is, look it up. It's difficult. I have not played it. I've seen a Let's Play on it. You know who's... Not you know as in you, the viewer. You actually do know. Not as that. Not as like you actually know. But as you know who. As in he who must not be named. Basically, I watched Voldemort... Oh, crap. I watched that guy's LP. This was dry humor. Well, I say humor, but that requires it to be funny. Was it? You be the judge. It's either dry humor or dry nothing. Whichever hurts my eyes less. I sigh because I missed, not because of my poor jokes. I'm only deprecating my jokes here because it's the internet and I feel I must be required to pretend that I don't find myself hilarious. But I'm so funny! I think I just stopped the pretense and just, I'm sorry, I won't do that again. I probably will, you know, yeah. Back to the game. It seems that he has low health. He has exactly 2. He is yellow and has a red stripe. He has a nose that is like a screw or something. It's a note, actually. And see, this is what happens when someone just tells you what's happening on the screen. I have 2 yellow and 3 red. I have Rayman Head X02 Ting X65. This is why I try to avoid just telling you what's happening. Because it just ends up not being entertaining. Except that it does, or doesn't. I don't know. But I won, and...
Excellent.
I might stop here, actually. And by stop here, I don't mean that this all be one video, because as you can see,